Welcome everybody to another episode of our Sunday Alumni Mastermind for the COVID Crisis Comeback Challenge alumni. And that's you, and that's me. And we're here tonight. This is sponsored by Integrative Wellness and Development, LLC. It is strictly for educational purposes only. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or prevent any illnesses or conditions, nor do we make claims that you will make millions of dollars in 10 seconds and have your own Learjet and Rolls Royce just by simply sitting down and visualizing and playing with our program. We don't make those claims. It's all up to you, and it's all up to how deep and how far you want to go with this concept of goal achievement mastery. But as the legal disclaimers require me to say, everyone's results will be different. But one thing I can guarantee you is if you apply the information that we are discussing tonight and that we've been discussing for the last almost a year now, your life will change and you will see some amazing things. For those of you who've been with us for almost a year now, thumbs up if your life has changed for the better and you've seen some great progress because of what we've been doing. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, that's a credit to you and to the efforts you are placing and for how you're helping each other too. So kudos to you all and thank you for your hard work. So let's jump right in tonight to this concept of breaking the chains of self-imposed limitation. Okay. We talked a little bit last time about some of the conditions that lead to limiting beliefs. You all remember if you attended that. We're going to take a little different focus tonight. Mark, did you have a question or?
Sorry, Troy.
Okay. Okay. Well, while Mark gives himself the Heimlich maneuver, we're going to continue. So this concept of breaking the change of limited beliefs that we're going to focus on tonight. I had a couple of examples in my life. I had years back when I was working with retraining disabled people and training them, giving them skills and opportunities for new careers, and then working to place them in a variety of different companies so that they would have competitive, gainful employment. I ran into one situation where we had a young man, he was hearing impaired, but he had an excellent mind. He was a quick learner, but he had been on Social Security disability income for many years. And that was an income that his mom depended on. And I worked really, really hard to get this gentleman, approved for this computer programmer training program that we had launched with companies like IBM and General Electric and United Technologies, Yale University. So the people who were going through this program, there were people who were in wheelchairs. They were quadriplegics. They could only move their head. And we had a little special stick that they would use to program computers with, right, to do the programming language. And we had folks who maybe had the use of one arm. And then this gentleman qualified because of his hearing disability. And we had arranged all kinds of very, elaborate, things to do so that he could get the information that was being transmitted by the instructor and learn the skills and be able to graduate and get a great job. Unfortunately, his mom had a very limiting belief. She was used to collecting that Social Security disability income every month. It was paying the bills. And she had a limiting belief that her son would not be able to earn more than that. And that if she allowed him to take this course and get a job, he would, of course, have to give up his disability income. So Her limiting belief that was chaining her was that my son is not smart enough because he's hearing impaired. And if he goes into this program, we're going to lose our way of supporting ourselves. And therefore, I'm not going to give him permission because he was not yet 18. And we needed her to give her permission for him to enter into this program. Let me tell you, it was heartbreaking when he finally said to us, after all I went through to get him into this program, and the future that he had was so incredibly bright because he was guaranteed if he graduated from this program, which I knew he had no problem doing, he would be guaranteed a job in one of the top companies in the country that were had branches in Connecticut. So I was shocked and I was heartbroken when his mom refused to sign the permission for him to be a part of the program. But now I understand that many times we can have an opportunity in front of us, right? But our limiting belief that we've created or someone else has created about us causes us to pass up those opportunities by believing I'm not smart enough, I'm not, capable enough, I'm not social enough, I'm not a fast learner, I'm not good with people, I'm not good with equipment. The list goes on and on and on about the I'm nots. Thumbs up if you understand what I'm talking about. Yes, many of you probably experienced that done to you or done for you or done by you, because I know I've had them, right? So this concept that we can have a limiting belief and we can actually think that it's good for us. We can actually think that it's protecting us from something, right? We can actually think that by embracing that limiting belief, it's going to cause us to be able to survive better. It's going to cause us to be able to avoid pain. It's going to cause us to be able to have a simpler life. Yes or yes? Okay. So tonight I want to have a little discussion with you, and we're going to try a few exercises in our boardrooms. But what I'm going to ask you to do when we get into the boardroom, and we'll do our breathing exercise to get in the right state when we go into the boardroom. But what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to pick one limiting belief about ourselves that we've had with us, and we're going to take a look all around it about what is it, where did it come from, why is it there, why do we think that it's actually a good thing, and how do we change it? Sound like a good use of the next half hour or so? Yeah. All right, let's do this. All right, let's get our breathing going here. So let's do our box breathing. All right, remember that? We're going to do 4 breaths in, hold for 4 counts. And on the 4 counts out, you can sing or chant that sacred word that you like to do. That sounds like the word do or some other word that you use. And you take another 4 counts in breath, hold 4 counts, breathe out 4 counts, chanting that word you like to do, then hold 4 counts. We'll do it one more time. Breathe in 4 counts, hold 4 counts, breathe out, chanting that word, and breathe out and hold 4 counts. And just relax and let's see yourselves in your boardroom, your inner temple, your inner studio, whatever it is you've created for yourself inwardly that allows you to be able to sit and interact with those parts of you represented by the mind, the memory, the emotions, and the physical self. And as you take your place at the front of that table, you take on the persona, the consciousness, the knowingness of the already goal achieved future self. All right, we're going to turn and we're going to look at that big screen TV monitor on the wall at the top of the conference table there. And we're going to project up on that screen a limiting belief that we have held on to. Could be for months, could be for years, could be for decades. A belief about ourselves or a belief about the way we live our life that we have held on to that has actually been limiting us rather than helping us achieve our goals. So let's become aware of one limiting belief. We all have them. So let's just pick one. Okay, thumbs up if everybody has one. Excellent. Okay, so again, we're going to use this dissociative visualization concept, which allows us to work on limiting beliefs and attitudes and challenges in our life. So as we did last time, you're going to hear a knock on the door. And when you go to open the door, there will be a version of yourself, just dressed differently. And this is the limiting belief that you have been holding on to and that has been holding on to you and possibly holding you back. So let's invite this limiting belief in, give it a seat, take a seat and facing it, welcome it, let it know that you recognize that it is a valuable tool for you to learn from in your life, that you are grateful for the opportunity to learn from it, and that you recognize it holds a key for you to move forward in your life in the pursuit of your goals. So welcome it and thank it. And now ask it, what was the original cause of this limiting belief? Where did it come from? And just listen and see the pictures in your mind. Where did it come from? Who initiated it? Now, without any judgment, ask the limiting belief, how was it that it was thought that this limiting belief would help me either move away from a painful situation or move towards change, move towards a better situation? Become aware of its justification that it was protecting you and allowing you to move away from something painful. And now, explain to this limiting belief that even though it thought it was protecting you or allowing you to stay away from a uncomfortable situation, that this belief caused you to pay a steep price. It limited you in your ability to achieve higher things, feel better about yourself, feel better about life. It prohibited you from making the progress that you were looking for. So explain to this limiting belief about this viewpoint, explained about what this belief cost you and how it is not a productive belief any longer for you. Show it the evidence, help it understand. Then show it up on the screen, on the wall. Show it what it would be like if you were living your life completely without that limiting belief. That you were living your life with the opposite, the positive belief about yourself. Show it on the screen what that would look like. What would the things you would be doing if you had that different viewpoint, that different belief? What would you be achieving? Who would you become if you were living your life every day with that different belief? How would that change you? How would that change your life? How would it contribute to your family, to your community, to the world, if you just made a small change and reversed that belief? What would be possible? See it on the screen. How does it feel to be someone living a positive belief, a productive belief that's the opposite from the limiting belief? Feel that in your very core and explain what it feels like to that limiting belief and watch its face, because as you are describing the joy, the freedom, the sense of fulfillment that you would have, the sense of connectiveness you would have, the sense of achievement you would have, see its face brightening as it begins to let go of the belief that has been holding you back, as it begins to embrace the belief that will set you freer. Notice the expression on its face as it changes. Notice the expression on your face. Feel it. Feel the change. Feel the freedom. Feel the chains break that were holding you back. And understand there is nothing to run from. There is only a limitless future to run towards when you let go of this belief. See it, feel it, know it, and become it. And now that you've seen it, felt it, know it, and become it, and so has this limiting belief shifted, explain to it the benefits What's possible now? What are you looking forward to do with this new belief? What's possible for you to achieve? How would that feel if you achieve these things that are now possible? And what are you going to do tomorrow differently? How are you going to live tomorrow differently based on this shift to a more positive belief? What is the potential life could have for you? See yourself glowing with that golden glow of limitless possibility. And see the color of that limiting belief shifting, brightening to become the same color that is of light that is shining around you. And see it merge and disappear into that bright, shining light of unlimited possibility that is around you. Knowing that you no longer need to accept that old reality, that your new reality is limitless. Just bask in that feeling right now for a moment. Okay. Now let's bring our attention back here to our meeting. And if you're open to sharing, what was the limiting belief? How was it holding you back? What did it feel like when you shifted it? And what possibilities did you see unfold once you made that shift away from the limiting belief? And how do you feel now because of that shift? So, if you would like to share something that you found to be extremely helpful for you from this exercise, maybe it's an experience you had with it or something that was shared in your small group, if you could please do that in one sentence, if you could keep it to one sentence, maximum 2 sentences, right? So that we can get a number of different people doing their share. I would really appreciate it, and so would the rest of you. This is not the time to give a 4-hour lecture. It's the time to just really hone in on what was the golden nugget of the benefit you received. 2 sentences. Okay, who wants to be second? Isn't it easier when you say who wants to be second? It's easy to raise your hand. Pat, go ahead, unmute yourself and share in 2 sentences.
Small moves, one step at a time.
This is very, very important, right? Any journey is made of one step at a time, which is why when I created the journal, you can see the progression that happens when you do just a few little things, one thing at a time. It builds momentum.
Yes.
So excellent, Pat. Excellent point. Thank you. Right? Who else? Who'd like to be next? Mark.
Yeah, I just found that and this came out in our discussion, I didn't see it before, but the labels that held power over me no longer do. I just recognize that they are really foundationless, and there's a much more interesting story.
Great point. Yeah, when we really shine that light on a limited belief, it really becomes clear that number one, not only is it not productive, but number two, it's not necessary. It's not necessary anymore because we've grown beyond the need to use it as a crutch, right? And it seems really, really weird that we do that, but we do because we can avoid moving into the unknown with the possibility of failure by not trying, or by embracing a belief that says, no, you can't do that. Oh, well, if I can't do it, I'm not going to bother trying, then I won't have to fail, right? So easy, right? But when we recognize that, oh my gosh, I've done so many things in my life, right? I've learned to crawl, and then I've learned to walk, then I've learned to run, and I've learned to drive a car, and I've learned to make money, and I've learned to raise children. The list goes on and on and on of the incredible things we do every day, and we don't give ourselves credit for it because it's automatic. But we need to give ourselves credit for each little thing we do every day. That will build momentum. And then we can set little goals. Today, I'm going to do just this. And then tomorrow, I'm going to do this. And tomorrow, I'm going to do this. By the end of the week, you progressed in a direction you've never done before in your life and proven to yourself you can. Make sense? All right. Who else? Who'd like to share? Larry.
What I find interesting was that the more I shine a light on my problem, is that it really just devolved into two things: impatience and fear. And when the two come together, it's brutal.
And when you recognize them, it's phenomenal. And Larry, you're bringing out what is probably the two most common limiting beliefs that we run into. Number one is definitely fear, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and fear of success. And then number two, it's the impatience when we know we need to change something, but we want it to happen now. We want to press the button on the microwave, and in 1 minute, we want that instant meal, right? We want to put our money in the vending machine, and we want the instant treat, right? Well, it doesn't work that way. But when we take these little tiny steps, we don't need a lot of patience to do one little thing and have it done, right? And you can say, oh, I did that. I'm done. We look at any goal as this big thing. We're looking at the end and saying, oh my gosh, it's going to take me a year to do this, or 2 years or 3 years. I can't do that. Don't do that. Look at this little thing that'll take 10 minutes or an hour. Say, I'm going to do that. And you do it. Then you say, wow, I still have, 16 hours left in the day. Well, I'm going to do this, this, and this. That's all. That's all I'm going to do. Oh, I did it. Right? We need to chop things down into little tiny bite-sized pieces that we can chew, right? Chew 28 times or 32 times and then swallow. And then move on to the next little teeny bite. Right? How many of you, like me, because I lived on the road and, I ate while I was driving the car, and I'm stuffing because I only have 15 minutes before my appointment or 15 minutes before my next call, and I'm taking this big giant thing and I'm just trying to stuff it in my mouth to get it in my stomach, right? And there's absolutely no nutritional value. I got sick, right? It was awful. Just little tiny pieces. Little tiny pieces. Who's next? Randy. You're going to need to unmute, Randy.
Okay. a great exercise, and it was really compelling. That what does it feel like where the possibilities of that fear had no basis to it, and simultaneously as we're going through this, the possibilities of recognizing who we truly are is totally justified, and now we are even more enabled to be able to recognize it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Stuart, I see you. You can't hide from me.
Hi. Okay, so a really important thing I came away from it was the importance of like being the boss and telling this limiting belief who, like what it is that we are doing, and making sure that the board room is very clear on who is running the show. And as you've probably observed, many organizations, you get little fiefdoms that want to run the show. So it was good. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the effort you're putting into this. And it's exciting to see, it's really exciting to see what you and Emily are building, right? And a dream that's manifesting, and an opportunity that you are moving forward with, knowing that you can do it, and not being concerned about will it work or will it won't work. That doesn't matter. It's the manifesting it and building the momentum that manifesting has built, that you will continue to move with that momentum. And who knows where it'll take you. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Who's next? Nancy.
So the main thing that I got is I am enough and I can trust myself.
Powerful points, and kudos to getting that in 2 sentences. You get one of the prizes. Awesome. Thank you. Tracy.
Hi there.
Hey.
I realized in our group today that I'm not the only one who feels the way I feel. And this has been a long life story I've told myself, and it seems like I'm not the only one who's been told this story. And it's nice to have been with people that I know and trust, and all of you in the group that we're not alone in these misbeliefs or limiting beliefs, I guess is what you called it.
Yep.
So I'm going to stop doing that.
Good. Excellent. Yeah, you've touched on a really important point, that is part of the fringe benefits of being in this program and in this group, right? I can give you a little bit based on what I've learned and what I know, but where you share so much with each other in the study buddy groups and in these Sunday masterminds, that's kind of the secret sauce, is that of the mastermind, is that we all connect with something greater than ourselves through each other, and through each other we come up with solutions, and we come up with reinforcement of what most of the time this is stuff that we inherently and intuitively know is true, but we need to be pushed to take action to make those changes happen, because this is all about action. Change, improvement, goal achievement, it's all about action, right? There's the old saying, there are people who watch things happen, right? There are people who make things happen, and there are people who wonder what the heck just happened, right? Who do we want to be? You know, Michael Jordan said this. He said, you know, there are people who wish for things to happen. There are people who really, really want something to happen. And then there are people who make it happen. And that is the mark of a champion. No matter what, you make things happen. Even if they're little things at a time, right? You don't come into the NBA and become the MVP every year for the rest of your career right out of college or right out of high school. It doesn't happen immediately. It takes little step by step improvements, right? But we've spent years convincing ourselves that something that was limiting was either true or it was more convenient to believe, because then we didn't have to do something that was scary, right? Because that's what our brain does. It tries to protect us from things that are scary and dangerous and move us toward things that are instant and pleasurable. And real progress doesn't happen with those two things. Survival happens, and we have to ask ourselves every day when we get up, do I simply want to survive this lifetime? Look back and say, hey, I survived. Or do we want to thrive? Do we want to move a notch every day, every week, every month? Right? We have to make that decision. And in order to move from surviving to thriving, we have to plan it, desire it, and take action on it every day. And that is how you make things happen. Right? Marvin.
This week I realized that the heart of my impatience was this lack of confidence that I could do it, that I could be really successful. And I don't need that anymore. And making it happen does not mean forcing it to happen because I'm impatient that the world can't keep up with me. It's more like just trusting that I can do it, I deserve it, and I'm good enough, and I'm big enough, and I'm successful enough, and all of that.
Beautifully put, Marvin. Yeah, making things happen is not about forcing things to happen. It is about a partnership between ourselves and the spirit of life, that we will do the things we need to do to make things happen, but we will work in harmony with its pace and with what needs to happen and who we need to partner with and what we need to change. And however long it takes, right? That patience comes from trust. If we trust in life and we trust in ourselves, that patience will come from trust. Right? But we still have to make the choices, make the plans, and take the action every day. If we just wait for something to do it for us, if we wait for someone to come and change us, if we wait for the goal achievement fairy to leave it under our pillow, right? If we wait for all of that stuff, all we're doing is waiting, right? We're not a conscious, active participant in our life anymore. We're watching a movie. And we're hoping that by watching the movie, our life is going to change. Maybe our attitudes might change. Maybe we might learn something from watching the movie. Maybe we might be inspired, right? If you ever want to be inspired, watch the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. It's a true story. I lived part of that story, but it's incredible about if your why is strong enough, you will do whatever it takes to become what you need to become to not only achieve your goal, but live it and become it. So I invite you to take a peek at that sometime. All right. Well, gosh, this time goes by so fast, right? So I hope you receive something of value tonight. I hope you'll work with some of the things we talked about tonight. I hope you'll revisit some of these beliefs, right? Not in a judgmental way, right? But in like an explorer, like a pioneer, because you're all pioneering, you're all traveling through new, uncharted territory, right? To move away from a limiting belief to an unlimited belief, it's a journey, right? Be patient with yourself and really map out that journey into very visible, tiny steps. And every time you take a step, give yourself credit for that, celebrate it. Recognize what you've achieved and store that achievement. Store that in your memory. The next time you feel I'm not good enough, I can't do anything, I haven't achieved anything, go back and look at all of the things you have achieved. I call that transferable inspiration. Just like you have transferable skills, there's transferable information. Be inspired by what you've already done, by who you already have become. Let that inspire you to do the things that you will be doing and the person that you are destined to become. Right? So, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for working hard. I love you all. I am so grateful for you, so grateful to be with you, so grateful for what you are doing in your life, how you've inspired each other today, how you'll inspire others in your world, one step at a time, one belief at a time, right? One success at a time, one goal at a time. So wish you all a great evening, a great week. We will see you next week. And take care of yourselves and live an unlimited life.